Okay, good morning and welcome to Mo Knows, featuring me, Monica Mo Justice. Stuff I was drinking some. Uh-oh. All right, so I got me on two screens, kind of, sort of. Got some errands to run. I don't know why they have these two pieces, but I'll live with it. It's a pain in the neck. That's what I will say. All right. I want to talk about last night or early this morning in the wee hours what happened on Gear's panel towards the end of the live. See how I feel, how I'm still feeling. And then the beginning, I want to talk about I hate that thing. All right. So yesterday was a hot day in the Rottenhouse case. It was a hot day on there. You had prosecutors getting admonished by the judge. You had a lot of things going on. After I was on Gear's panel last night, I joined Corinza Harris, on her. I went to her channel to watch her breakdown of the trial from her perspective. And it made me start to think about different things. Like, are both sides feeling as if they have lost and they're looking for a mistrial on both ends of the spectrum? How did Momomo? Why am I saying that? Because my first takeaways yesterday when the judge was yelling at the prosecutor was, this is such an egregious line he's crossing. And I took the position of he probably believes his hold on a second. He probably believes in what he's saying to the extent that he's willing to be almost disbarred or face a mistrial on the case. And I thought maybe he's fed up with the judge's rulings, so far and so on. And then I started to really reflect on how the case has been going for him thus far. And there are moments that you can say, oh, they're scoring good talking points. And then there's moments that you could just be like, nah, that didn't happen. They didn't just let that happen. So that's my feeling when I woke up this morning. I'm like, who benefits from a mistrial at this point? Who truly benefits from the mistrial at this point? And I guess the person that truly benefits is either side. The only way the mistrial is bad if it comes back as a mistrial with prejudice, because then that means that, so if, because they said that the defense filed a mistrial, a motion to mistrial to the judge, and the judge is taking it under advisement. And the grounds for that had to do with prosecutorial prosecutorial misconduct. See, even I can't say some words in my field of choice, but I do not sound like the unofficial. I know I do not sound like the unofficial. Good morning, Karen. Good morning, Hailey. And I did see you last night, Hailey. I just didn't want to be doing the individual hellos, but I did see you on the room in the room last night. So a mistrial, how does that fare weather right now? We'll have to see, but the prosecutor, if the defense's motion is granted, that would be with prejudice. And with prejudice means he cannot try the case again. He cannot bring it before another court. And then that means that there would not be more justice for the people who were seeking justice in this issue. The unfortunate thing is that these groups gathered in that spot and they caused mayhem, burning stuff. Oh, all right, hold on. I gotta get Nuggy his treat because we just can't do that to Nuggy. Please hold while my real thoughts on the subject, though, is that they provoked. Having the judge seem so favorable for the side of the defense, I feel like some of this stuff was provoked to see if they could provoke the DA so they could get this mistrial. Because what would be the purpose? And Carenza last night was so adamant about why would a defense attorney put his client on the stand? And I was in the chat saying, it is the client's choice to defend himself. You, as an attorney, have a right to advise your client of his rights. But if your strategy, remember how coy Johnny Cochran was. If your strategy is to be like, let me put my low-hanging fruit, Kyle, who is young, immature, not savvy enough, but he had presented very well on the stand to go forward, right? And sit on the stand. This DA might get overzealous, which it appears he has, ergo resulting in us filing, or their team filing, a motion for mistrial. Good strategy if that works for them, because Carenza was like, it doesn't make any sense. He'll eat you alive. He'll do this. He'll do that. And as she was saying it last night, I was like, God damn it. That might be their strategy overall. They might needed that to happen to get the mistrial with prejudice so that there'll be no more trial. and there'll be no findings of fact. The finding of fact will be that maybe this judge, in the way that he's ruled so far and has had a heavy hand on the matter, is because he doesn't believe the matter should be before the court in the first place. As a former prosecutor, maybe this would not have been a case that he would have brought to trial. I don't know. He seems like one of the worst judges I've seen in a long time on these judge shows. I think he's the worst judge up to Judge Ito in the case of O.J. Simpson that I've seen in a long time. So we'll carry on. Today, the witness is an expert. So now the prosecutor has rested. And this is what I will say about the prosecutor's case up to the point he rested before he interviewed Kyle yesterday. He had a difficult case. His witnesses got up there and testified, basically supporting self-defense. Even the dude that he shot, that Kyle shot and he survived. So I find out his name is Gross Krisker. So it's both of those words together, whatever. So we just gonna say the gross dude. Gross Krusk. I don't know how to pronounce it. Gross Krusk. He gets up there and he basically should have pointed out he was in fear for his life, but he didn't use his weapon on Kyle. And he became in fear for his life instantaneously, right? He didn't make a good, I understood what he was saying, but he didn't make it compelling enough that you could got it. Like, listen, I was there doing medic shit, the same thing this dude was supposed to be doing, right? And in the course, here we both are doing medic type stuff. And in the course of doing medic type stuff, we got drawn in of the happenings of the day. Kyle's immaturity had him shooting a man that everyone said antagonized everybody, but presented no bodily harm. Kyle was the only person running around with a gun, and that was an excellent question the DA posed to him. Is the person running around with that gun the problem? Because what Kyle was saying was that if the dude got his gun from him, right? He said, then he could have harmed me and killed me. So him having the gun was going to be a problem. So the DA was like, wasn't you having the gun a problem right now? Like, if you hadn't bought that gun here in the first place, we wouldn't have all of these problems. So that's what he was pointing out. Few things I want to talk about Rottenhouse. Oh, let me just finish off on the dude. Cross, or whatever hell his name is, right? I understood what he was saying. I don't know if it meant to the jury. He was, once he got upon him, because I think what they all were going to do was just going to try to tackle him, but you motherfuckers would have still got shot because he had the gun attached to him by this strap. So you couldn't take the gun away from him. Hello. So bottom line is he tried to say, like, look, at that moment, I knew I was going to die, but I did not shoot him and I did not kill him. And I too had a weapon. That's what he should have said. He should have not went, my intentions were not to kill him. He should have been like, I froze like a fuck face and I didn't shoot him. And I missed the opportunity to kill him because he got me first. Like, if you would have just kept it jiggy, but people can't keep it real. Like, when did you, because you was out here playing medic, right? You did not pull out your gun. But what he did admit, he too did not have a license for his gun that was current at the time. So he was violating a whole bunch of laws his damn self on that night. All of them were unlawful. And So now the premise, these professional protesters that come out, the premise is they're the bad apples of the protest. That's my takeaway. That's what I'm gathering from all of the stuff they do. Yeah. The dude did not have his paperwork in order to be carrying the gun that he was carrying, that he pulled out. The question then becomes, when did he really pull the gun? And that's it, because I don't know how two people with a gun at each other are deterrent for something. Kyle is going to have a hard time though, because the first person he killed, even though the man was belligerent, he didn't have no weapon at all. Or he'd been through, so here's the thing, he'd been through the accelerant, even if we were to believe that inside the plastic bag that he threw, that flew in the air, because the bag didn't just end up on the ground. The bag flew in the air, as you see it on the videos. Once the man threw the bag, he still was running, and he turned, took position, and killed him. And the DA did make that point in his testimony. He said it looked like the only thing that stopped was you. You said the guy kept advancing on you, but you actually stopped running, turned, and shot at him. Only person that stopped was you. The man didn't advance on you and catch up to you. You stopped to shoot and kill him. And then you shot him, not one time, because I think one time is definitely, you shot him. He was falling down. They said he broke his pelvis. The first shot was a very damaging shot to him. We don't know. I didn't get that it was life-threatening, or maybe it was, but the overkill was the 3 other shots, because he shot him 4 times. So let me make sure I got it correct. Some rifle type shit, an AR-15, semi-automatic, at close range. Like, those are the guns that people are shooting people, across a car field, or some bullshit ass thing. Interesting enough, in the 1990s and the early 2000s, when you had these active shooter cases, which this is not an active shooter incident, because Kyle did not go in there with the intentions of killing people as his end-all game, as in the active shooters. But nevertheless, I'm going to talk about active shooters. In the active shooter scenarios, parents, like Carl's mother, would have come out and said, this Grand Theft Auto game, or these video games that the children are watching, are making them turn into these type of vigilantes, or running around shooting people and stuff, and they're getting this from the video games. Kyle was still in that age group. He was 17 years old at the time. Heavily influenced on not how to resolve issues. He was de-socialized. As a high school student, he's telling us he was attending. I almost died when he said that he got a high school diploma from Penn Forster. Now, I know they used to run those commercials here in New York. I hardly see them anymore, but they run that online. Get a high school degree, you could get a couple degrees from Penn Forster, and one of them he got was a high school degree. Lord have mercy on us. When I the first thing I had to write down, I was like, Penn Forster. That's when I went and got my book. I was like, let me get my book. And then he's going to one of those the Phoenix online school for college. So he has anti-social skills. He's not even in school. he wasn't even in school that last, we don't know how long it was, but he finished or completed his studies of high school on Penn Forster. So there are more things that meet the eye, which is not for consideration in the trial because it was not presented, but a reasonable person who knows what Penn Forster is could come to the conclusion this kid was antisocial. He has social issues. Being in this situation where he was approaching folks and folks was saying, you know, as he was walking with this reporter, right? He was eager for the attention. They pulled out his whatever kind of account it was. I think it was his TikTok account talking about he wanted to be famous. He was eager for attention. We see that here. He told when confronted, walking with the reporter, when confronted by other protesters, they said, listen, this guy is walking through here shouting medic, medic. A minute ago, he wanted to shoot and kill us up there. That's basically what the dude said. So we don't need your medic, your type of medic down here. As he was walking through with the reporter, and he was shrugging it off. Who, me? I did? And he's like, yo, I was saying that sarcastically. No, you was a terrorist. Y'all was engaging in domestic terrorists under the guise of protecting property. And the worst thing that I find about this case is that they could not bring in anybody's motives for being there. What really drew them there? But here comes the defense, and they bring out, I don't even know how to describe this woman, because she was like this little old prejudiced lady that you know will say some outlandish stuff if you just get her into the place. She looked like Edith Bunker, whatever the fuck her name is. You know, from yeah, that whole kind of setup with the woman, like, ooh, and I helped him and this and that. She seemed like, I just was annoyed by her. And you know, you can pull your inferences from her demeanor and how she conducted herself on the stand. And this is all. Now, last but not least, I will end with him crying. I felt no sympathy for his tears. And the reason why I felt no sympathy for his tears is based on the testimony that they elicited from the people he brought to testify on his behalf. The people that spoke on his character, talking about Kyle's character at the end of the event, when he finally made it back to car source. Here's what was critical to me. They said they described him as being sweaty, from which I would assume from running. They described him some as shocked, but these were all people that had no medical background whatsoever. And then the other thing that's annoying or jaunting at this is that a hospital was across the street. He could have ran into the hospital for safety. The way they described him when he came back to the garage and they were sitting down and this lady took his gun from him and put it on the side and did all this stuff, you know, Edith Bunker, right? That type woman. No one said he cried. Normally, if you are so fearful, right? When you finally reach your safety place, right? The place you feel comfortable, because this is how he described it. I am back in a place where the people could protect me. I felt protected. He didn't let loose to show he was vulnerable. He didn't cry then. No one described him as crying. So I was in the chat room with these people. They were like, oh, that was a panic attack. Well, having never experienced one from Momo, I don't know what that looks like, but I wrote inside the chat, like unequivocally, lady, get out the bottle. Do not believe that that this dude was crying. I didn't fall for the tears. And if they really were tears, I feel like they're the first tears. So listen to me. I said I did not fall for the tears, but if they are real tears, because around here I got to make sure I'm politically correct in what I said. They were tears for what's to come, prison. If these people sitting before him don't believe his story or find mercy for him. I was like, God, bye. I was sitting here, I was like so annoyed. I was doing a report, that report I do bi-weekly, and I was like, oh, this is annoying. This is annoying. What a homie is doing. I was just so like, taken back from it. So the question of the day is, could Rottenhouse get a mistrial? This is what happens in these cases. Let's see what today brings. The expert today is in self-defense. He's a self-defense expert. When this case goes to the jurors, I will then, there's in consideration that they would do the weekend, but the judge really didn't want to do a Saturday court date. And neither did the DA. So we'll see where that turns out. Moving on about last night. Very few channels here I have utmost respect for. Gears is one of the channels I do. So when I was awoken out of my sleep, no, I got up to do the tinkle thing in the middle of the night. When I got up and saw that he was live and saw the title of the live, my first inclination was, why are we growing this motherfucker's brand over here? Like, why are we supporting? Good morning, Gears. Why are we supporting this crazy ass dude? So I didn't, and I'm gonna go back and catch the beginning of it. But from that point, I was just like, let me listen. So as I listen to the dude, nothing changes my opinion that he's part of the problem and not part of the solution. And that will stand until I see evidence of anything else happening. Because what I didn't know the day I let him on my platform to discuss his using my content without my consent, violating, infringing on my rights. Folks brought to my attention afterwards, and I'm still waiting for video confirmation, that he actually was sitting on a panel discussing my ethnicity. What am I? So he cannot honestly present last night that he is not trying to engage the conflicts, but get a better understanding of the conflicts and hopefully come up with a resolution. But I'm just going to put this out here as I put to the channel called or known as YouTube Court TV. In order to seek resolution, in order to have a platform that people go to for resolution, you have to have what we call a buy-in. And the buy-in must be that those people that engage in that kind of resolve, engage in it with the understanding that their case will be settled there. And this dude, he doesn't even have the respect, the carbon footprint to garner that from two sides that he claims he knows nothing about and is just becoming familiar with, based on being a leech from other portions of the internet, leeching on to other people's works. So what I will do, when you can't beat them, you join them. I will bring you my analysis of his video of me in real time when I watch it, when I feel like it. At the end of the day, the conversation that I was having with my subscribers over here was not with any clinical foundation. Quiet as it's kept. Until this man came over here, I didn't even know groupthink beyond what Nikkei described it as when she encouraged me not to call some of this behavior around here cult-like environments. The groupthink discussion I was having was based on my own experience. So if my own experience deviates from what is in the written textbook on the subject, a real therapist would understand that I'm only speaking from my experience. I don't even know how you can use my experience as a baseline for your research. Doesn't make any kind of sense to me. The problem, sir, because you know you're blocked from this channel. He says to Gears last night, because you know the people could just block the people. Yeah, Mo blocked him from her chat because I found him to be antagonistic and to be pushy. All of the behaviors that somebody that wants to harvest Black folks together and get Black folks to resolve their conflict. He was doing everything but seem like a peacemaker. He was antagonizing me every step of the way to just see how far he could go. So he says to Gears, oh, y'all could just block each other and so on and so forth. And that's it. I blocked him from my chat because I didn't want to speak to him. I don't feel like he has a presence here and that he's earned the right to speak to me at this point in time, because there was a level of disrespect by using my content without reaching out to me first and let me know what his intent was. Because then at least, as I said in the conversation, I could have at least watched it, or I could have at least had some respect for the fact that you are a newbie to over here and this was your approach. Your approach came in hostile. So you cannot dumb it down. And then to come in my room and say to me that you wanted to engage me now after the fact only furthers my position that you intentionally did something with the hopes of meeting up with me later on and having a conversation when you could have been a man about it. Fuck a therapist about it. Just been a man about it and confronted me directly and said, hey, you got some talking points. I believe they're misleading, whatever you said in your video that makes Ty, who probably watched your video, write a comment like this in Gear's chat. This is Mo's own screenshot, shoddy moment. Gotta shout myself out. Nobody else, nobody sent this to me. This is what I witnessed and observed last night. And it is why I'm saying what I'm saying this morning. Gallery. Here we go. Screenshot. And I'm telling you Now, you better not go live trying to break down this live like you did Mo. Or I promise you, we really gonna get you, yo, on fake wannabe therapist ass. So I'm just assuming based on that, Ty saw the video. But because Gear's video last night was not about Mo, I didn't want to ask that question last night. Here I am. What did you see, sir? That makes you think he was breaking down me. I know what we heard him say he did. And I know what he's encouraging me to do. But the last time, and I'm not trying to bring up old shit, but I want to remind folks on here, right? Rocket made the video. Remember when Rocket made the video about Monica Lewinsky? And many of you thought it was funny. And Rocket contends it's funny. And he says, yo, Monica, if you watch it, you're going to see that there. And I can't bring myself to watch it. So what I chose to do was just to move on with Rocket, have an understanding that he believes it's funny. I may not share that same opinion, but we could still live and thrive in the community together, in which we have. And that's just how I operate, right? But deep down inside of me, I'm saying, if I ever watch that video, am I going to find humor in it? Because remember, there was a consortium of folks that said, no, Mo, you should not watch that video. You are not going to like that video. And I do remember that somebody else that was mentioned in that video made a video saying, I don't like the way that video turned out. So with that being said, to see Ty's active response in the chat, basically Ty is saying, y'all could fuck with Monica all y'all want, but don't think that we're going to be silent if you fuck with Gears like this, because we're going to come out in droves. That's how I take that. That's how I take that statement. I can't fault him for feeling the way he does about me. Or feeling I was fair game for anybody to attack. Hey, TC, because that's what that statement would lead me to believe. And I'm not speaking negative on Ty. So I don't want this to become like, Monica went on her platform and she bashed Ty. I'm understanding his position. I guess I'm becoming a therapist on this motherfucker. No, let me stop. But I'm just saying, I understand his point of view, POV. And I respect it. But I watch how this game is played out here. And it's always fair game for the men to beat up on a woman. I don't know why they always start with fucking me. Like they don't got no other woman on this bitch they could fuck with. Just asking. But instead, they come doing heavy shooting over here. Maybe it's because Gears said a couple of weeks ago, Monica's a realist, or however he presented it to them over there. He was presenting it on your actions, how I've kept firm and in my responses to y'all. I've never wavered on my shit. Wasn't like I was the baddest bitch out here knocking motherfuckers and slaying motherfuckers out, even though I have knocked a few people out on some platforms I've been on. Even though I have pulled up and rolled up when I deemed it necessary to set the record straight. But I've always picked my responses wisely. Listen, everybody may not have arrived to this platform for the same reasons. Some of us want to be monetized and some of us don't. Some of us go in our daily endeavors with either of those two goals in mind, being monetized or not being monetized. Now, worst case scenario with my video over there, sir, I know you're listening. I can't help it, Mr. Therapist, but you could be working for me. And that's the only thing I didn't say the other night on the platform, because the other contingent is I let you rock my shit over there and I claim the copyright on it. And when you become monetized, since you want to be clinical, if it's worth something, the benefits will go to me. So every time you put a video up there, sir, of mine, you would in essence be working for me. You wouldn't be working for yourself. And the only analysis I did of your channel and the videos that have more than 100 views as of the last time I looked, which was the day you was on my platform over the weekend, the videos that had more engagement of yours or his or whatever were those where he stole from somebody else. Because he's got one up there with some kind of K views on it. I think, what was it, 1.5 K views? But it's based on some woman's content that he speaks on, or he juxtaposed his image or thoughts into. So that must be disheartening to be a therapist, pretending to be a therapist in pursuit of being a therapist. And you see that your only stinging moments of success or good numbers is when you steal from the women. Eek. That's interesting. That's interesting. It's just a way of doing business around here. And some of us, we one of the things that you really have to learn is how to respect other people's, how to be a respect of another person. And being a former pastor, and I don't know how you get to be a former pastor, but being a former pastor, I would think that one of the things you know in biblical is that one is not a respecter. See, my creator, he's not a respecter of persons. Look at Mo. I don't know where some of these beta dudes get this fighting women spirit from. However, they better check themselves. They get this spirit, this estrogen battle, by something going on internally with them, because they do not treat or embrace the men the same. That man entered my platform and he was willing to have a whole conversation with Glib. I'm looking at Glib like he got 10 damn heads, about to talk about some other controversial thing that I don't speak on, critical something theory, right? I don't talk about that stuff on my channel. You know why? Because those are the buzzwords that get YouTube to demonetize your structure. So I don't give it straight up conversation if I even touch on those topics at all. So I was just sitting here listening to this and I was like, but I'm gonna be respectful, because part of growing up on a YouTube is how well have you perfected your game. And I think I've done a great job perfecting my game. I hate to be disrespected. I really do. I hate to be disrespected. I hate that more than anything else. It just it really pisses me off to be disrespected. But I can't demand respect on via a platform that is not structured to respect you. Not in these settings. Now, I will tell you what I have watched. So, watching this Rottenhouse case. The past 2 mornings, I've been watching other channels that are lawyers breaking down the case. And I normally only watch lawyer perspective on cases when they talk about the defense. Because see, any one of us could need a defense attorney. And I want to hear from people the stuff I should be watching that they do. So with that being said, I'm not going to focus on what they talked about in respect to the case. I'm going to focus on what they talked about in respect to YouTube platform as being their venue to convey messages. They are all, so while we have seen an uptake on people leaving Twitch to come to YouTube, and Twitch is mostly the gamers. So as we've seen the gamers shift from Twitch to YouTube, apparently we're also seeing folks who are in our live environment, because that's what Kanika's village is, you know, the cemetery, whatever you want to deem it to make yourself feel good about the Kanika community. We were, and I understand where Straight Drop was going with his reminiscence the other day. He was reminding people that we were the trendsetters because we were more familiar with this format of videos of YouTube. YouTube had an upload community. It was grandized in upload, but not in live play. And when they had to restructure for the children sensitive materials, live play really has suffered. So live play is live streaming. And listening to, and this is weird because I listened to two different attorneys talk about how they were shifting their live platform from YouTube to somewhere else to go live. And people were like, well, that's going to mess up your super chat money and so on and so forth. And he said, listen, I'm going to have to do it in their new format, premieres, because that's where the money is going to be made. Because YouTube, so I'm going to tell you folks, and I've been saying this for the last couple of weeks, YouTube is not promoting your live videos. I saw it when I was trying to figure out how to get the green screen. I was watching different channels that help you build your channel. And that was one of the things they were discouraging folks from doing, the live feed. They was like, you've got to have nearly 1,000 people in your live feed for you to get money. Then I listened to the people like Kwame Brown complaining from time to time how his monetized is not working out too well for him. And we know he's in the live feed environment, live play, instead of recorded play. So I'm going to really take that in under advisement. And I see many of you doing this already when y'all go into the premiere world to do your stuff, right? I'm just not one of those upload type of girls. That's why I continue to come in the live environment. But when you start to hear, if you're really looking at this as a financial, from a financial perspective, sometimes you might have to change how you move if you want to be financially rewarded. They do not share out your video as they do in the upload environment. Upload is a little bit more safer for them as a content, as a platform, because I guess they can pre-scan the video for inappropriateness or different words that's said that they cannot anticipate in a live environment. And that's all it is. In the live environment, no one can anticipate what's really going to happen in their live environment. So, and we don't have, even though we have a delay, you can't even pull back the mistakes in time on a delay. But it is what, it is what it is. More to come, more changes down the line. And that's just about that's just about it. YouTube teaches disease. Wait a minute. YouTube, I can't with you right now. YouTube teaches these people to play off others' emotions. I'm not gonna, you know what? I'm not gonna blame that on YouTube. I'm gonna blame that on the characters that come here. And see, when you have somebody pretending to be a therapist before their time and out here doing therapeutic settings on a platform as this, a platform that says if you engage in that type of clinical type shit, it's not authoritative and you don't have the and you know what's so funny? About 2 years ago, coming from the planner world, we had some planner channels that were doing motivational shit with their people, right? Talking about motivational writing and how to meditate and so on and so forth. And they had to go into Patreon type settings because the YouTube was pulling back on their content. They were demonetizing the content because all right. They were demonetizing it because they didn't have a license. And I actually reached out to one of the women because I asked her to send me the language YouTube sent her when they told her she couldn't be given therapeutic advice. That's for you, dude. All in preparation for you, my nigga. That's how I wrote. But yes, I reached out to her because that's part of sitting around here watching how the platforms work. But to each his own. Folk can make whatever kind of content they want to make out here. It's just all contingent on what you want your end game to be. And that's it. I'm not telling homie not to be a therapist. I'm telling him he won't be Momo's therapist. No. If I need some behavioral support, I will seek it from my employer. Has employee assistance program. Many of your employers have the same thing. For those of you who hold a job, go to your employee assistance program. They have counseling services that are available there. If you are employed or if you have government assistance that provides you with medical benefits, they include behavioral health science, behavioral health medicine. Go there. Don't depend on the folks here on the internet to provide you with that therapeutic support that you may need. You're only disenfranchising yourself. Anyway, this is Mo. And before I go, is there anything out of the chat? Hey, Muffy, I didn't see you come in. This Karen's perspective is killing me with this new name. I did say hi to Gears, and I did say hi to TC, and I did say hi to Hiley. these are the people brave enough to step out into the chat um, for today. And that's it. Me seeing no comments from the chat, I'm gonna wrap this up. This is Mo. I've got to go. See y'all on Friday.